A flatter stomach would be pretty high on most women's lists of body goals, especially as we get older, when the fat tends to redistribute from your hips and thighs to more around your middle section. But at the age of 51, I think my stomach's the flattest it's probably ever been, so I figured it's the perfect time to share with you my 5 top tips for a flatter stomach. Before I start, I'll do a quick show and tell. So you can see, now my stomach is not really sculpted, I don't have a six-pack, but to get that kind of definition you have to train really hard, you have to eat a pretty restrictive diet, and you have to maintain what I think is an unnaturally low body fat percentage. So I just wanted my stomach to be flat and look good in my clothes. And oh, you would have seen I do have some loose skin. But that's unavoidable when you've gained and lost weight as many times as I have. Overall, I'm pretty happy with my tummy. So the first tip for a flatter stomach, it's actually pretty obvious, but if you're overweight, you do need to shed the excess weight and get down to a healthy weight. You don't have to get too thin. Plenty of really thin women have bulgy bellies as well, because there are other factors at play, but you do need to get down to your healthiest weight to have the flattest stomach. Tip number 2, you have to get regular. If you're not having at least one good regular bowel movement every day, then your stomach is not going to be as flat as you want it to be. I'm sorry if this is a bit TMI talking about BMs, but it's got to be said, it's important. Now, I think everybody knows that the way to fix constipation is with more fibre. And everybody knows where you get your fibre: fruit, vegetables, whole grains, bran, beans, lentils, pulses. The thing about fibre is it's a bit tricky. If you introduce too much new fibre into your diet and you're not used to it, your body is going to go into shock because it doesn't know how to process all that fibre, and instead of feeling better you'll feel worse and you'll get gripey and wind pain and more bloated. So when you introduce more fibre into your diet, do it gradually. Just look at what you're eating now and look at where you can make improvements, and do it over a period of a week or 2. So switch from white bread to whole grain bread, or white rice to wholemeal rice. Increase your vegetables a bit, but not too much all at once. Same with fruit. And for goodness sake, don't just have a big meal of lentils, because you will just die later from pain. And when you increase your fibre, you've got to drink more water, because that keeps the fibre nice and soft and keeps everything moving. My tip number 3 is to avoid salt as much as possible. Salt causes fluid retention, and that will cause bloating and make your stomach a lot bigger than you would like. Salt is everywhere. You can start by just not salting your food when you eat it and avoid it in cooking. Just use herbs and spices for flavour. And then you need to look at the sodium content of all the packaged food that you buy. Salt is in so many processed foods, especially things like tin soup, bread, sauces, frozen dinners. You've also got to be careful, because when they put the sodium content on the package, it's often per serve, but their idea of a serve might not be your idea of a serve. For example, tin soup, it's always serves 2, but I eat the whole tin. And if it's something like 750 milligrams per serve, then that's a whopping 1500 milligrams of salt. Now, I make it a rule whenever I'm choosing products, I look very carefully at the package, and I won't buy anything that has more than 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. My size serving. My 4th tip is to beat the bloat. Certain foods are fantastic at counteracting that bloated feeling that you can get after meals. I have great success with asparagus for some reason, and melon is really great for me. High water content foods are fabulous. Talking of water, don't drink when you actually eat, because that can cause bloating. Drink a lot of water, but between meals, either well before a meal or well after it, but don't sip on water while you're eating. Avoid all gassy drinks. I think they're terrible for bloating. Peppermint tea is fantastic. If I do feel bloated, a cup of peppermint tea with 2 tea bags, extra strength, really helps. Now my 5th tip is to work your core. As I said earlier, I don't have a 6-pack, nor do I want one for the amount of work that's involved. I actually don't do any ab exercises at all, but I am very conscious of always conditioning and strengthening my core. The core is your very deep stomach muscles. They're not flashy and showy, you can't even see them, but they work like a corset from the inside and pull your stomach flat. And all you have to do is be aware of them and switch them on. To switch on your core, imagine that your belly button, you're sucking your belly button to your spine, okay? So just pulling in where the belly button is, and imagine you're pulling it right back. And that's on. Once your core is switched on, it's stabilizing you and it's protecting your back, which is so important. So always switch your core on when you're doing any kind of exercises at all, whether it's strength training or walking, whatever you're doing. When you're sitting, switch it on. When you're driving, you can do it in bed, any time at all. Always think core switched on. And the great thing is you can breathe through it and you can talk normally and you can do everything normally while switching on that core. And after a while, it'll just be automatic. And it's really going to make a difference. A lot of people who are thin but have a bulgy belly, it's because their core isn't strong and conditioned. So those are my 5 best tips to get a flatter stomach, even over 50. As you can see, they've made quite a difference to me. I hope you found this video helpful or enjoyable. If so, please give me a thumbs up, and I would love you to subscribe to my channel just by clicking the subscribe button below. I bring out new videos every fabulous Friday, and I'll see you then. Thank you for watching. Bye.